Alright, grade 9s, now that you've had the opportunity to look at print ads and the lesson from Friday, and you've had the opportunity to evaluate and look at some of the tactics and techniques used by the media to advertise things in terms of TV commercials or print ads, we're going to look a little bit more in depth into some more media literacy here. Let's take a look. So evaluate media texts. Some definitions that we're going to be looking at today: assumptions, things taken for granted; beliefs, things that are thought to be true or real; media elements, the basic parts of a media text, such as logos, headlines, and visuals; and values, standards that a person or group has about what is important in life. So every media text makes assumptions. For example, the publisher of a travel magazine may assume that all students should travel for a year before they go to college or university. This assumption is based on the values and beliefs of the publisher. In this case, the publisher may value real life or travel experience and may believe that these experiences are an important part of teens' growth. Every day, media messages influence decisions you make about what you buy, what music you listen to, what shoes or clothes you wear, what you eat. Because media texts are so influential, it's important to evaluate the assumptions, values, and beliefs they reflect. Doing so will help you develop opinions and judgments and make informed choices. As you ask yourself the questions in the following checklist, remember that sometimes there is more than one answer. Let's scroll down and take a look. We got 2 pamphlets here that were advertised in schools. We got this West Island College International, Class Afloat, your passports to education, bringing the classroom to the world. So this is some sort of floating college, I'm guessing. I don't really know, but assumptions that they're making is similar to what it was saying up here, in that they're valuing the world travel and world experiences over actual textual learning. And they're also assuming that people have money to afford to... College is expensive enough and university is expensive enough. They are assuming that people have that little bit of extra money to go to school on a boat. Also reminds me of a TV show when I was your age called Breaker High. It was about this boat, and there was a high school on a boat. It was pretty cool. Just like a high school age drama. It was a show, I haven't thought about that show until now, but it's a good show. If you see it anywhere online or you see it on TV, you should give it a watch. And next we got Reach Higher, Sign Up Today. Canadian Military College, Beyond Education. Fight with the Canadian Forces. So, what values, beliefs, and assumptions are reflected in this print ad? Well, it's assuming that, once again, people are going to value the experiences that they're going to be gaining rather than the actual college. So this is put out by the Canadian Forces Recruitment Center. And this is a very good alternative for some people. Instead of going to a traditional college, you can go to the Canadian Military College and probably learn some cool skills and techniques and become a member of the Canadian Forces. And I don't really know what else to say about that in terms of assumptions, beliefs, and values are reflected. Let's move down. A checklist for evaluating media texts. So purpose, audience, and message, also known as topic, purpose, and audience. And that is what we're going to be getting into when we look more into like PSAs and stuff like that. So who produced the media text? What do the producers of the media text believe or value? Do I share similar beliefs and values? What are the purposes of the media text? Who is the target audience? Am I part of the target audience? Why or why not? What messages are conveyed through the media text? And do I agree with them? Let's look at this elements of style here. Sometimes media producers intentionally use caricatures, which are like, you know, when you're in a big city and you see like the guy with his easel and he's drawing pictures of someone with like big heads and eyes and exaggerated features, those are caricatures. They're pictures that like somewhat resemble the person but have exaggerated features and whatnot. So images or sketches that exaggerate personal characteristics. Caricatures create an oversimplified and stereotyped character that is easy for the audience to understand. For example, the mad scientist, the starving artist, or the evil wizard. When evaluating these caricatures, it is important to consider how various audiences, particularly those being stereotyped, will respond. The communication of ideas and information. Have the producers of the text use appropriate elements, for example, logo, headlines, visuals for the media form and intended audience. Why or why not? So what's that asking is, if it's like something for like very small kids, like a toy that they're advertising or trying to get information out, are they using appropriate headlines and visuals? Like obviously, if there's a lot of text on there, a 4-year-old is not going to be able to read that. What effect do the elements have on the audience? Does the media text appeal to the audience's emotions or reason? How? So, thinking about commercials, those commercials that like make you like, you know, get all, you know, that make you feel all the feels and make you feel nostalgic. Something that's like, you know, reminiscing about childhood, or maybe it's around Christmas time and it's all about family. So are they invoking emotions in order for you to like pay attention and buy their product or use their service? Do the ideas, images, or sounds presented in the media text make sense? Do they logically connect to the main idea or purpose of the main text? Why or why not? So is it just some random stuff, or is it connected to what the media is trying to portray in this? Okay, moving down, points of view, biases, or stereotypes. We've already covered stereotypes in short stories and points of view in short stories. So from whose perspective is the media text presented? How does it compare to mine? Would others agree with that perspective, and why? So instead of it being like a first-person point of view, is this an ad for a women's product from the point of view of a woman? Or is it an ad for, something manly, so-called manly, from the point of view of a kid or something, like, does the media text show bias? For example, does it favor one person, group, or thing over another? Has it left something out in favor of another thing? And are the characters realistic or stereotypical? Believable or unbelievable? So use a graphic like this to help you evaluate media texts. This is just like a quick little graphic organizer. You got title of the media text. What's the purpose of this text? Who's the target audience? What message are they trying to portray? From whose perspective is the media text portrayed? And what are the elements of this? So, transfer your learning. Connect to history, recounts historical events can be biased. What questions should you evaluate history texts? Well, they always say history is written by the victors, right? So we never get the perspective of those who lost in history. And technology, there are many software tools that allow producers to manipulate photos, video, and audio. What can you do to help you evaluate media texts that have been manipulated? Okay, so we're done looking at this. We are going to take a look at what is a PSA, a public service announcement. Is an advertisement broadcast on radio or television for the public interest. PSAs are intended to modify public attitudes about or by raising awareness about specific issues. A typical PSA is part of a public awareness campaign to inform or educate the public about an issue such as smoking or compulsive gambling. So I got two examples here of PSAs. You've had the talk about drinking and driving. but have you had the talk about money? Good parents talk to their kids. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here. I don't know what. I guess this person's spending money needlessly. They got like a couple juice bottles here, some random things on the floor. Some important things to note about this in terms of the format and context of this is that everything's in black and white except for the things that she has bought. So there's a couple juice containers with the blue. Her jean jacket is a different color. All the leaves, everything's like grayed out. Her car. Good parents talk to their kids about drinking and driving, but often neglect to talk to them about money. Have the talk, the money talk, with your kids and give them a solid understanding of how money affects their lives. Just as drinking and driving wrecks lives, ignorance about money and financial issues can also ruin lives. Well, I don't know if this is a real one or not. When I was looking for examples of PSAs, this is what came up. But public service announcements are usually sponsored by someone. So, this is sponsored by Financial Educators Council and Financial Edunation Campaign. So get your free Family Money Talks guide and then it gives you a link here. So this company has paid for this public service announcement. I'm sure you've seen posters like this before about, fires. Smokey the Bear, he's like a caricature. The image, the logo that represents. All right, sorry about that. Someone had come into my office there. So I think we're done with this one. This isn't a good example of a PSA. Now we're going to take a look at this one. The fun can wait. Your cigarette won't. So they got like a watermarked, kind of blurred out image of what looks like a carnival ride here. They got some cigarettes. Let's zoom in and see what we got. Is that all it's going to zoom in for us? There we go. Okay, so this is sponsored by the state of California, California Health and Human Services, and the National Institute on Drug... I can't read that one. Abuse. Okay, so it's sponsored by 3 different sponsors, and it says right there, sponsored by. So studies from the National Institute on Drug Addiction show that smokers can exhibit an increase in irritability, craving, and cognitive and attention deficits within the first few hours after the last cigarette. Smoking can increase blood pressure, decreases exercise tolerance, and increases the tendency for blood to clot. So this is a public service announcement about smoking. So you will have the opportunity, you're going to have 3 options as the culminating activity for media literacy is you're going to be creating your own media text, whether it be a public service announcement, a print ad, or I can't remember the other one right now. Anyways, we'll get to that when we're there. So this is your introduction to PSAs. We're going to look a little bit more. We're going to look at a PSA and an advertisement and a couple questions that you're going to have to answer on them. So, like I thought, this lesson's going to be over the 15 minutes, so I'm going to have to record and upload a separate video for the next part. So when you're done watching the part 1 of this, then you're going to go on to part 2. Watch that video for your instructions on the activity. Okay.